So I think everyone is about sitting down and the doors are about to close. Welcome everyone to the European Forum on Family Support. I'd like to thank you all for being here. The people who are with us today in Madrid in person, of course, but also a thank you to everyone who's watching us online. My name is Jean Grasmeijer. I am a member of Eurofamnet, and I'm going to be the MC for today, introducing each one of the sessions. I wanted to go over a few practical points before we start. On the one hand, we will have presentations both in English and in Spanish, so we will have simultaneous translation. And for that, you have received the headphones, but if you haven't got a headphone yet, you can collect it at the registration desk. Also, I know people are traveling, people are carrying luggage, so if you have luggage with you, you can leave it also in the foyer close to the registration desk so you can move more freely. We have a very stimulating agenda ahead of us today. I would like to give you a quick overview of our program for today. First, we will have two policy-oriented sessions. One that is at the institutional level, and the second one, is driven by Eurofamnet. After which, we will have three specific content-related sessions where we will go in depth into the research program that Eurofamnet has developed over the last 4 years. The first one is related to the conceptualization and delivery of family support in Europe. The second is related to quality standards and evidence-based practice. And the third one is related to family support workforce skills. At this point, I think it's important to remind everyone that we have a Telegram channel that for each of the three technical sessions, you can use to interact with the speakers by posting your questions or comments. I would like to ask you to pose your questions or comments in English so everyone can understand them. If you haven't joined the Telegram channel yet and you would like to, there are some very straightforward instructions at the registration desk, and it's really very easy to join. After our three technical sessions, we will have a closing session that is going to be a joint reflection about lessons learned. Of course, in between of these sessions, we will have coffee breaks, we will have a lunch. So now I would like to introduce our opening session that is entitled The Policy Opportunity for Family Support. And it will be chaired by Patricia Bezunartea Barrio, who is the Director General of Family Diversity and Social Services of the Ministry of Social Rights, the Spanish Ministry of Social Rights and Agenda 2030. So I would like to give the floor to Patricia.
Muchas gracias. Buenos días a todos, a todas. Bienvenidos, bienvenidas.
Good morning, one and all, and welcome to Madrid. In this final event of the Eurofamnet project, I bid you welcome, and I thank you for being here on behalf of the Social Rights and 2030 Agenda Ministry of Spain, which has the competence of protecting families and their diversity under the Spanish government. At the very onset of the Spanish presidency of the EC, we want the social agenda to have particular relevance, particularly family support policies. I would like to thank everyone sitting here with us, having traveled from many distant places across the world, and the different institutions represented in this event. In the past few years, the Spanish government has been decidedly supporting family policies. And due to our approach based on positive parenting and good practices, we have further supported family policies that can be efficient And that's an approach and a policy we're bringing to all areas of social policy, trying to overcome the old inertia of ancient practices that no longer respond to our realities. For that reason, those of us policymakers must receive the contribution from researchers and experts to better understand and diagnose the actual reality on which we need to intervene and to launch different tools, standards, programs, and services to define the quality standards that will allow us to give our citizens and our families the kind of support they need. That is the foundation of this project, EuroFamNet. This project creates a European network of researchers and experts in terms of family support to make a positive contribution. As you probably know, the Spanish government grants families a top-ranking level in social life immediately after health. However, we cannot consider families as a single unit or as a one-dimension unit. It's a multi-dimensional entity within which our citizens work. There are different ways of considering a family, and these come as the reflection of a deep transformation in our society during the past few decades. Our societies are now more complex and diverse due to the combination of demographic, cultural, and economic changes that have taken place in our country and in Europe, or even across the globe, like climate change and new breakthroughs in IT and AI. Also, we cannot function outside an economic structure, and we cannot overlook the large inequalities that still affect our households, particularly those in situations of vulnerability or risk of poverty and marginalization, with serious effects on equal opportunities for children and teenagers. For that reason, we have spent years trying to set priorities to seek equality from a gender, age, or ability perspective. All these challenges and social needs require public policies to support families and deal with their issues. Diversity, demographic challenges, the needs for support in raising children, equal opportunity, and co-responsibility, the struggle against poverty and exclusion that threatens the quality of life in many households are the challenges we face, and that is what leads us to launch modern, updated policies that truly adapt to the conditions in our society. Several initiatives for family support have been developed in recent years. Large initiatives like the Minimum Salary Initiative, still in its at its beginnings as a minimum income guarantee for households with a complement after childhood, or the measures adopted to face the social and economic crisis produced by the pandemic and lockdown. These have received the name of the social shield that requires direct improvements like the labor reform to fight labor precarity affecting youths and hindering vital projects like getting a family or acquiring a home. We also worked intensively to draft family legislation. This bill of law was not approved as early general elections were called, but this legislation had the aspiration to become a framework for policies that did not exist in the past in this country. And there are only a few standards granting family support. We wanted this law to acknowledge the different family structures to better protect families socially and economically, particularly vulnerable families. It aimed at providing better work-life balance, social security benefits, meant to create a more favorable legal and social environment for households so that citizens could make decisions or their family decisions in freedom and based on their specific needs. Certainly, this legislation remains pending for the next administration period. In this review and update of family support policies, particularly when it comes to fostering positive parenting, we're grateful for the cooperation of the Spanish Federation of Provinces and Municipalities that also actively participate in the EuroFamNet project and bring us closer to the lives of these families with a brilliant group of experts and professionals that have provided their scientific and technical input to the initiatives we launched, like technical documents, guides based on evidence, evaluation and processes, a website and a web portal, which clearly show the good cooperation among politicians, scientists, and professionals, placing families at the core of their efforts. This is particularly relevant as a joint effort because one of the lessons we have drawn from these hard times we've gone through in recent years is the need for collaborative solutions to social problems, which are increasingly complex. I would like to thank everyone who participated in the EuroFamNet initiative, particularly the University of Seville that grouped 165 members from 35 countries and 12 European agencies for their important contribution to foster family support policies and programs, a project that we wish to be extended in time and turn into a stable support for families across Europe. I will now leave you with Joaquin Corcovado, Head of Citizenship Area and Social Rights for the Spanish Federation of Provinces and Municipalities, and I wish this forum a very fruitful outcome. From the public administration, we will keep our eyes on your work and all your contributions. Thank you.
Pues buenos días a todas y
Good day, everyone, and thank you. On behalf of the Spanish Federation of Municipalities and Provinces, I would like to acknowledge the cooperation of the Agenda 2030 and Social Matters Ministry for promoting these positive parenting initiatives. And I would also like to extend my gratitude to the European Forum on Family Support. And I would also like to acknowledge the contribution of the Science Ministry to extend our networks and the University of Seville for their leadership in the EuroFamNet project. I would also like to thank my own team, Javier de Frutos and Elena Ramon, for the hard work they have put into developing this project and today's forum. In our federation, we're convinced that public action can play a relevant role in generating healthy links within families. Diverse families, after all, with that diversity that makes us richer as a society. In the case of FEM, we're also supporting diversity and integration. Initially, documents were drafted in the framework of this reality on the unity of households and in a cooperative environment. positive parenting can be integrated into social policies to support families, and that's our focus point. At present, we use 3 tools in this road of shared learning. The online platform for families and positive that works as a support for both families and local entities. Second, the positive parenting good practices guideline to assist families in applying positive parenting. And last, the interprofessional guidelines in positive parenting submitted last year or published last year as a structuralized proposal. This proposal was drafted through an enriching process with the cooperation of Spanish universities, local professionals, and public sector entities promoting family support measures at a local administrative level. And that bridge between scientific knowledge and day-to-day practice has been deeply developed by the EuroFamNet. And for FEM, it was a great opportunity to participate in this European project. First of all, because we firmly believe in the need of connecting the work of academics and professionals. Second, because EuroFamNet have followed a careful methodology and rigorous analysis of research results to favor the implementation of family support policies and practices. And because we believe that thanks to EuroFamNet, professionals will find the tools they need for their day-to-day work, motivation for their for new ideas, and useful techniques. The FEM will maintain its commitment to reinforce this cooperation, and I wish you a fruitful Congress. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Joaquín. Gracias por también.
Thank you, Joaquin, to you personally and to your team. Next, we will hear Almudena Agüero Preto, member of the CAST Committee of Senior Officials. Thank you, Patricia. I prepared my speech in English. It's very short, and although Spanish is my mother tongue, I will read it in English as a courtesy to our international guests.
Dear ministries and local authorities, dear colleagues, it is a honor for me to welcome you to this Cost Action final event on behalf of the Spanish Ministry of Science and Innovation, which is responsible for the implementation of the Intergovernmental Programme for European Cooperation in Science and Technology in Spain. Thank you very much to the event organizers, especially to the Action Chair, Dr. Lucía Jiménez, for the invitation to participate in this final event. Of this Cost Action dedicated to a very important issue, as is family support in Europe, including policy and practical aspects. I hope you have achieved the expected results signed in the Memorandum of Understanding 4 years ago, in a difficult time with a global pandemic included. Let me start by introducing myself, as many of you may not know me. My name is, as you heard, Almudena Agüero. I'm doctor, and I am the national delegate in the Committee of Senior Officials, of course, since 2011. In addition, I act as COST National Coordinator on temporal basis when needed, and currently substituting our COST National Coordinator colleague from FECIT. Also, within my ministry, I am National Coordinator of Spanish agents and coordinator of national contact points and expert in the Strategic Program Committee of the Horizon Europe program, that is the umbrella for the COST program. And finally, I am a Spanish national contact point for the Joint Research Center of the European Commission. We, as ministry, are very proud of the Spanish participation in the COST program. Most of you have experienced what it means to be part of a dynamic network, knowledge creation. The participation of Spanish researchers in COST is in 100% of the COST actions, and this has been steady from the last 7 years. I would like to highlight that in the last call of 2022, in the results published last May, Spain has achieved to coordinate 11 proposals, that will be financed of a total of 70 new actions approved by the Committee of Senior Officials, being well ahead of the second countries in the ranking, Germany and France, which will lead 6 actions each. Now, in my ministry, we are in the process of nomination of management committee members for the 70 actions from Spain. Currently, I have to review 150 expressions of interest from interested Spanish participants. Also, during the year 2022, the leadership positions occupied by Spanish participants have been 200, and a total of 270 people had participated as trainers in the course training schools. Considering the current Spanish Council presidency, I would like to recall you the Conference on Science for Public Policies in Spain, next 21st September, to be held in Madrid, organized by my Ministry of Science and Innovation in collaboration with the Joint Research Center. The aim of this conference is to identify the main institutions, organizations, networks, policy frameworks, and processes in Spain that promote the development of evidence-based public policies, promote the Spanish community of professionals in the science and policy interface to exchange best practices and collaboration between countries. Finally, I wish you a fruitful event today. I look forward to hearing firsthand about the main output of the Eurofundnet action and the projection of Eurofundnet at long-term perspectives. Thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Almudena. Y creo que además...
Thank you very much. I believe that in social policies, we have not always been evidence-based in our approach. So your contribution is vital to help us move ahead. I will now leave the audience with Ana Maria López Valles, Rector of Social Services, Healthy Campus and Equality and Cooperation from the University of Seville. I would like to thank you for coordinating and driving this project. Thank you very much, and the floor is yours. Well, thank you, and good morning, one and all.
¿Estaba? Vale, gracias. Saludar a mis compañeras y compañeros de mesa y a las instituciones a las que...
Hello, I would like to say hello, my colleagues here in this presidential table, and it is a great honor for me to be able to preside this session and to say hello to everybody attending here to this Congress. I would like to thank for the invitation Lucia, Jimenez, Vicky, Hidalgo, and all their team, because not only they are my colleagues, but as well we are friends, we are researchers, and work together in the Sevilla University, although I am here not as a teacher, but as a chairperson, vice rector of social services, healthy campus, equality and cooperation of the Seville University. This means that we take care of all the social services of the student community and with a certain social responsibility. Today, here, I would like to convey on behalf of the Dean of my university, Mr. Miguel Ángel Campos, his full support to this Congress, and on behalf of the University of Sevilla to be able to coordinate such a project. And for most of the universities, the fact that we become international is one of our latest priorities within the universities, and we are trying to design different plans to create new research, international networks, cooperation networks, because we know very well that in this cooperation, that's where we will find the better solutions that we are having to our social problems as a society. In this forum, I would like to mention how important it is for the Sevilla University that we have now more than 512 research people, and most of it, 17%, represents on the major areas that we are focusing in research. And basically, I would like to underline that these research lines are basically focused on the support on families, on the development of families, and that is one of our more transversal points. We're trying to introduce the different symbols, and one of the groups, research groups, are basically focused on anthropology, public health, medicine, all these disciplines. They come together in supporting families. And at the end of the day, this family system, which is in continuous evaluation, a very dynamic system, as I mentioned before, I would like to mention the working group and research group that we have, in which I have Vicky Hidalgo and Lucia Jimenez belong to this group, together with many other colleagues that are working in this. These groups started working in 1985, last century, and during the last years it has been consolidated as an international group with a very important international participation, not only because it has grown as a member of families, but as well in very specific family strategies or policies. This has been a group when most of our universities were just implementing a transfer of support, but this group had this included from the very beginning. And they really thought that from the very beginning, everything should have been based on evidence-based science, and as well it has to be very updated from the scientific viewpoint, but they had to give back to our society positive results, and that these results would be conveyed directly to our citizens in general. So I wanted to mention that in the very beginning we have had important policies as far as the Andalusian community, and not only within Andalusia, but as well in many other autonomous communities where we are already developing positive parenting. And from the vice rector, we are supporting specific groups, high vulnerable area. We have the most vulnerable and complicated environment in Sevilla from the whole of Europe, and we are working there with the transfer of initiatives to this specific environment and suburb. We are working as well in this positive parenting in many South American initiatives that we are coordinating at an international level in Peru, El Salvador, in Honduras as well. And at the same time, we are working from the knowledge, from the know-how, from the transformation and respecting interculturality and their original cultures. So the European Forum on Family Support is basic for us, for our routine, and we will focus in our agenda on the support on families. And these challenges are very, very big, and therefore we have to underline. I would like to tell you that I don't know how long I would have left in my vice rector position, but I can promise that we are going to be very much trying to implement all the conclusions of this seminar. And within the rectorate, one of the programs that we are trying to implement is the work-life balance, the support on families, especially families on the university community, and as well many other initiatives that are not within the university environment. So we are going to be very much present in all those initiatives that started during the 19th last century. They had to adapt perhaps in a more slower manner compared to the changes that have been occurring lately with the new models of families that we have on top of the table. We shouldn't forget that we are a very diverse model, that the institutions, we have to respond to this diversity. So on behalf of the Sevilla University, we will always support you. Families are one of the priorities for us here, and we are working from a very transversal viewpoint from all the different areas, supporting all the citizens, all the families, and that is one of the important characteristics of our university. Therefore, I would like to congratulate all of you for all what you're doing, and especially in all those initiatives that support families, that are very welcoming for our society. So it cannot work in a different manner. We have to continue supporting families. That is part of our responsibility. Thank you very much for having invited me and for sharing and giving me this opportunity to share my presentation with all of you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Joaquín, Almudena, Ana Maria. And we are going to close this inaugural session, and we are going to start now with the technical sessions.